Hi everyone, and welcome back to the Learning FreeCAD for Beginners, where this series takes you through learning the fundamentals of FreeCAD whilst understanding workflows and demonstrating those with practical examples. We're going to be looking at part design pocket options in this video. After we've looked at how the pocketing works and the different types of pockets that you can do regarding the through all, two-face, two-dimensionals, etc., we're going to learn how to make this type of fastener. So this is a plate, and we could have something on the back of here, but this will fasten to a wall and the screws will be hidden. So they'll come in here and the screws will fit into this void, but you can see we've got a lip in here, and when this is rotated anti-clockwise, then this will be locked into position. Now this uses two pockets, but we're playing with the different types of pockets that we're using in there to create this feature. We're going to be going through all of the pocketing types and all of the padding types that you can use, and understand that when you pocket something, whether it's symmetrical, whether it's reversed, whether it's normal to sketch, or if it follows an edge, and we can use those to our advantage to build our models. So I hope you're enjoying this series, and let's have a look at these options. If you like what you're seeing, please subscribe to the site. I also have a Ko-Fi or a coffee site that you can donate to if you so desire, and that's at ko-fi.com/MANG0. I also run a Patreon where you can subscribe and get extra content, and that's at www.patreon.com/MangoJellySolutions. Any money that's kindly donated will be used to expand the channel. So for this demonstration, we're in the part design. I'm going to create a new object and basically create a new body and a new sketch in that body. Now I'm just going to use the XY plane to demonstrate the different types of pocketing and padding options that we have. So for this, I'm going to use a very basic shape. So I'm going to use a rectangle that's symmetrical to the center, and inside that I'm just going to place some basic pockets. They're going to be either side of this vertical line here, and we're just using symmetry to mirror that across. Hit close, and we'll create a standard pad with that sketch, taking the defaults of about 10mm. Let's go 15, so we've got a bit of space there. Now, to understand how these options for the padding and pocketing works, I'm going to start with a pocket. I'm going to create a new sketch on this side, and a section view through that, and I'm just going to create a circle. Now that's attached, that circle, to that face here, and if we hit close we can see the circle on that face. Now if we go for a standard pocket using part design, it's a subtractive feature, it's a pocket, it will just pocket into that face like so. It has a standard length of 5mm, and what we're going to do is have a look at these and understand how they work. So dimension of length of 5mm means that's going 5mm normal to the sketch. You can see the direction edge there, sketch normal. So it's going where the sketch is, it's going away from that sketch. So bring back the model pocket and look at that sketch and press the space bar. You can see that sketch is in there. What I'm going to do while I'm here, I'm going to click on that body and make it transparent. So come into the view, and we'll come down to the transparency, which is here, and set this to something like 50. This means that if we bring this around, we can see what we're doing in here. So that pocket is sitting there. Let's come back to the task and see what we've got. So we've got type, dimension, length, 5mm. So placing this in a positive dimension creates the pocket into there. If we try to go negative, then it won't actually allow us. If we hit OK, it's not allowing us to go negative. Now the reason why we would want this to go negative, let's say that this, which it is a planar face, and this is a non-planar face over here, then we could actually pocket through that non-planar face by using a planar face this side. But we're not going to get it for this because we can't have a minus length in there. The way to do that is click reverse and bring up this length, and what will happen, it will reverse it and go this way. So if this was, say, a curved surface here, we can actually pocket it from the planar surface from this side, moving in this direction. I'm going to change the type to through all. Now you can see that's placing it through all of those voids there and out the other side. So anything in the way of that pocket will go through all of this object. The same with the reverse. It will go in the reverse direction. Symmetrical to plane, that means that it will go out equal lengths this side and this side. But because it's through all, it's just going to go through all the way through there. We'll come to symmetrical to plane in a minute and dive into that a bit more, because I'm going to move that sketch just to demonstrate what that actually does. Move down to the next one and it goes to the first face. So anything in front of that until it comes to a face will be pocketed through, and it will pocket out the other side of the face, but it doesn't go any further. So go that to first, and if we hit reverse, what will happen, and we may have to tweak the values, so let's just tweak the offset. You can see it's gone this way, so it's come out back, the reverse, and it's hit the other face, but it's not gone any further. There's an offset here, so let's change this back to reverse. It's gone that way. Let's change this offset. So let's reduce this down, and you can see it moving away from that face. So it's going to the first face it comes to, and then we're backing off 4mm. So if you think about if we're drilling a hole and we want to leave a gap this side, we can just use to first and create an offset from that first face by 4mm. So we've got a bit of gappage there. If we go reverse, then we can use this offset in a different way. So I'm going to zero out the offset. Go minus, you can see not much is happening there until we get to a high value and it's coming out this side. So what's happened, it's gone in reverse, it's gone this way, and the offset has brought it back. So let's zero that, and you can see that it's created a face on this side just here. And if I place this into a positive offset, that's pocketed it in that side. Take the reverse off, zero out the offset, and let's change this to out to face. Now this can be a bit problematic when selecting the face. What this allows you to do is select a face that you want to pocket out to. So we can pocket out to this one, and that'll create basically a face on that side. Remember, we've got the offset as well, so I can actually drill into that face. If I increase, we go this way, and if I decrease, we go into that face there. Let's zero that out and click off. Now we've got this face here. If I delete that, I should be able to select another face. So if I select that one, you can see it's not really doing anything. And even if we change anything, click the bottom and select that face, it doesn't really do anything. There must be a little bug around here, because if when I change it to one of the other options and come back, then this is all clear and I can select another face. So I'll select this face. You can see it's gone up to there. The offset, we can back it off that face, or we can drill all the way through that and into the next face there. It's gone there. Let's just change and zero this out and come back to the active face. We've still got the option there. Let's take that out and let's select another face. Well, we'll have to change it first and come back up to face. There's a little bug around there, and we'll select that one. So that's gone all the way through and out the other side. And reverse, well, this won't actually reverse it, but if we look at this offset and pull this back, see it's gone into minus value there. If I click reverse and then put this to positive value, you can see the reverse is having an effect on that offset face. So the last of the options that we have, if I go 2 dimensions, is this one here, the 2 dimensions with the length of 5mm and the second length of 5mm. Now this is where it's worth moving that sketch to show you what's actually happening in here. Let's cancel out, come into the sketch and move this using the data, coming up, and we're looking at the attachment because it's attached to this face. I'm going to place it somewhere in the middle of this object here. Going to the attachment, it is along the x-axis, but it's connected. So we're going to be looking at the sketch planes. So it will actually be normal to sketch along the z-axis, this one here. So let's move that in. So that's inside our object now. Let's click on the body, set the transparency on the view, and we've got that sketch inside. So now we can see what happens with creating a pocket and coming into the 2 dimensions. What we're going to do is also look at the pocket, look at that sketch in there, press the spacebar. So we've got the 2 dimensions there. And what we've done is basically pocket that. So you can see it in there with our sketch sitting in the middle. So we've gone 5mm one way. If I increase that, this increases the length along the second length. And we've got this the other way as well. So increase that on the first length. So where this is attached, it's attached to here. Our first length will go down, our second length will go up. We hit reverse, it just flips these directions. So if I can increase this one, this is our second length, but our length going down has changed. There we go. And take reverse off, they're just reversing there. So it just flips these values. Now this is the center, that's come back to our dimension and look at the symmetrical to plane. So at the moment this is going 5mm. If I click symmetrical to plane, note where the sketch is, click symmetrical to plane, the sketch is now in the middle of that pocket. So the pocket is going symmetrical to the plane of the sketch. We increase these, we're getting the length divided by 2 across there. You can see that symmetry there. So we go symmetrical, I'll take that off, we go reverse and normal. So we've got those there. And the same if we come up to through all, as we said before, that's it in the middle. There's reverse and there's symmetrical, which if that's symmetrical to plane, it's going to go through anything that's in the way of that sketch, going forwards and backwards along that normal vector there. Also got the taper, so let's come into the dimensions and also come into the sketch, go into the data, and that z-axis along the attachment along the position. We're just going to reset that so it's there. You can see ticks all the way through, so we may need to refresh. So let's come out to edit and refresh. So we've got our normal pocket, we've attached the sketch to this face, remember, and we've got the pocket going this way. Now we've got a taper angle in here. If we bring this taper angle up, you can see the bottom is flaring out. If we bring it down, the bottom pulls in to that point there. And the reverse sends this backwards, so it'll actually send it backwards this way. And the symmetrical to plane, well, let's move the sketch inwards again by -15. Edit, refresh. You see what's happened there. So we've got this shape. So we've made this symmetrical and we can taper either side like so. And the same if this is 2 dimensions. We can change the dimensions and taper them. So we've got different taper angles for each. So we've got taper angle for the first and the taper angle for the second as well. So we've got control over those. I'm going to change the sketch now. So I'm going to cancel out of that. What we're going to do is remove this constraint. This allows me to place this at an angle, like so. Let's close that. I'm going to take this sketch and change where it's attached to. So I can do that by clicking on the sketch coming into the support, clicking on that, clearing that out, and picking a new support. So I'm going to pick this support here, this face, this one, hit OK. And looks like we've still got some Z-axis on here. So let's zero that out. So we've got no offset on our attachment, and that should sit there. Now I've got this sketch here. Let's look at following an edge. So I'm going to pocket that, and this time, rather than sketch normal, I'm going to drop this down and select reference. The sketch has disappeared. Let's select this line here. So what's happening is that if I increase this length, it's actually following that line. Let's use the reverse, and you can see how that's kept in line with that edge. So it's at an angle along that edge. Now this can be quite useful. Let's cancel out of there and look at this sketch and move this sketch into a different position. Now I'm going to move it by bringing in some geometry. Now I want this vertex that sits right here. Got the vertex there. I'm going to attach this center point of this circle to that vertex. At the moment, we can see it's gone over constrained. So I'm going to remove that point or line constraint there and delete it. So now the profile of this circle is on that edge. Let's hit close. Now let's use the pocket. It's going down at the moment. I want it reversed. And I'm going to select a reference. This time, this edge. You can see what's happened there. It's following that edge, and we're getting that half circle there. Let's use normal direction because we've got it in reverse at the moment, and increase that. Change this to first, and we've now created a groove running along that edge, using that edge as reference. So for a practical demonstration, we'll come back into the part design, and we're going to be looking at a way of using those pocket options, those pocket types in there. So I can create a new body and create a new sketch. Going along the XY plane and hitting OK, looking down from the top. And I'm going to create a simple disc in here, and I'm going to put some geometry in here that will allow me to attach this to a wall over a screw or a large headed nail, so it's locked in so it doesn't come off the wall. You see these on fire alarms and boxes that attach the wall. This is your simple sketch. Hit close and we can pad this. 10mm will do. Let's hit OK. So let's have a look at doing twist lock on here. We can create a sketch on this face. New sketch. We're going to create 2 circles for guidance, will allow us to guide our groove. So we've got those 2 there. Let's create another circle. I'm going to attach it to this line, and also I'm going to create another circle inside here. So we've got these here. I'm going to make this circle tangent to these 2 lines here. So I'm going to use the tangency. Make sure nothing's selected, use the tangency, and take this circle and this one and this circle and this one. So that's tangent now. Now we want to keep this one, which will be the screw head. So that sets some dimensions in here, and we'll use the 5mm for the screw head and bring this down. And you can see what we need to do. We need to think about the diameter of the shaft of the screw and have this symmetrical over these two lines. That's quite easy by using a point. Not going to use a point. Let's use a point, go to constraints on, and let's constrain it to inner circle and 1 point to the outer circle. Also going to hit the escape and constrain this point to this line, point on object constraint, and do the same with this one. So those points will move along there with that circle and will be attached to this line. I can now use symmetry by taking the 2 points and the center of the circle, this one here, and using the symmetry constraint, deleting the redundant constraints. It deletes, and now we get symmetry across that circle. You can see the other circle is moving in and out, and I can also use these 2 points and place a height in here, and this is going to be the shaft diameter of around about 4mm. I should actually set it to 3, so we've got 3mm there. Let's bring this up so you can see what we're doing. We could use some angle constraints to constrain this circle down to the center here, and let's do that. So for instance, I could add a line that connects up to this point and here. Change this to construction geometry, and we can set the angle between these two. Now let's come over and pick the angle, about 11 degrees. So that's construction geometry, that won't show up. And we'll set either diameter, or we could even set, come in here and use this point and this one, and set a height, fully constrains it, of 30mm. So we've got that constrained down. Let's set these two to construction. So now this is all constrained down. Let's have a look at creating the necessary geometry to connect these two together and trimming them out. For that, I'm going to use an endpoint and rim point arc. So we're going to take one circle and the other circle, will make sure there's a point on the line, and create an arc between those. Hit escape, and we'll bring this into position. And you can see how we want that to be placed in there. You can take this point and this arc, point on arc constraint. This needs a radius, so I'm going to click on it and use this one, make those equal. So I've got that radius in there, and that's not actually attached to there. There we go, point on object constraint. So we've got that one there, and we do the same down the bottom. Same point, rim point arc, connect to this one, connect to this one, add the arc, hit escape, take the arc, take the lower circle, make those equal. That will give them equal radius or equal diameter there. Then take the points and the circle, attach them up with a point on object constraint, so they sit there fully constrained. And we'll use the trim edge and remove this circle and this part of the circle, and they're all connected up like so. So all fully constrained. Let's hit close, and we've got our feature there, which we can pocket into our object. And this is basically the same process. So let's put this a pocket of 3mm and click on the face, new sketch, come in, and pull in some geometry. So we're going to pull in this edge here and this edge, like so. Then we're going to use the slot. Going to auto constrain to this point and auto constrain to this point. Hit escape. Make sure that this arc and this arc are equal. Therefore, this arc will be equal as well because we've got tangency across here and we've got equality across these arcs. So we've got that one there. Let's hit close. We now need to offset that using the Z on that sketch, moving it down into the material underneath, and we'll move that down to -1.5. Use the pocket on that sketch. You can see that's pocketed out already, and we need to go to first. So we've got that feature in there, and if we want to go a bit further we can, so 0.5 mil further if we want to. So we've got that void in there. Got the lip to stop the screw from coming out when it's over this side. We're pushing it this way, will release it from the screw. Let's hit OK. Now that's polar array this. So we've got that there. We need another one over the other side. So we want it here going in the reverse direction. So make sure nothing's selected and click on the polar pattern or part design, create a pattern or apply a pattern, polar pattern. It's going to ask us for which features that we need. Now we need two. We need the pocket 001 and the other pocket, not the pad because this was the original pad. The two pockets make up our feature. So we had one pocket that did this outer and then we did the inner part. So control select both of those and hit OK. Got that feature down the bottom now, so you can see how that's going inside there. If we only selected one, then we only get one feature there. That's perfect. We only need the two. If we want to do, we could do another one. But that's correct. When screws are in here and this is turned anti-clockwise, it locks into position. So there you go, and just hit OK. We've now got that feature inside there. In our next video, we're going to be using the techniques that we've used in the previous videos, along with a technical drawing for reference, to create our models. We're going to be looking at a number of workflows of how you create those different models and different paths you can take. With these videos, there'll be some supporting documentation that you can use to recreate the steps I've taken. So I hope you've been enjoying this course, and I hope to see you again soon. If you like what you're seeing, please subscribe to the site. I also have a Ko-Fi or a Ko-Fi site that you can donate to if you so desire, and that's at ko-fi.com/MANG0. I also run a Patreon where you can subscribe and get extra content, and that's at www.patreon.com/MangoJellySolutions. Any money that's kindly donated will be used to expand the channel. Thanks a lot for watching and subscribing, and I'll see you again soon.